Welcome to the Vale of Shadow, where the echoes of the past whisper through the night. Immerse yourself in the tragic tale of a bride abandoned at the altar, whose sorrow has become an eternal haunting. In the shadowed heart of Eastern Europe, there lies a village untouched by time, a place where the mist clings to the earth like a lover's embrace, and the wind carries with it the echoes of a sorrow too deep to be forgotten. Tonight, dear listener, I shall tell you the tale of Anna, the bride who waited. Her story is one of love betrayed, vengeance, and the eternal yearning of a broken heart. Nestled in the misty Carpathian Mountains lies the small, forgotten village of Rinovic. This village, with its cobblestone streets and ancient ivy-clad cottages, seems to have been plucked from the pages of a fairy tale. The air here is thick with a sense of timelessness, where the past lingers like a shadow and the villagers speak in hushed tones of legends and curses. Among the village's legends, none is more sorrowful than that of Anna, the bride who waited. Anna was a striking figure, tall and slender, with skin as fair as porcelain and hair the color of spun gold. Her eyes, a deep, sorrowful blue, held a promise of warmth and love. She was the beloved daughter of the village blacksmith, a man of great strength and gentle heart named Andrei Koval. Anna's love, Viktor Malakoff, was a dashing young man from a neighboring village. Viktor was known for his bravery and kindness, with a heart as noble as his demeanor. Their love story unfolded beneath the ancient oak tree that stood at the edge of Rinovic, a tree that had witnessed countless tales of love and loss. Viktor and Anna's romance blossomed quickly. Viktor had come to Rinovic to help Andrei with a project, and during this time, his and Anna's paths crossed. Their bond was immediate and profound. Viktor was captivated by Anna's grace and beauty, and Anna found solace in Viktor's strength and compassion. Their engagement was celebrated with great joy throughout the village, and plans for their wedding were underway. As the day of Anna and Viktor's wedding approached, the village of Rinovic transformed into a lively hub of activity. The air was thick with the scent of fresh flowers and the earthy aroma of freshly baked bread. Every corner of the village was touched by the preparations for this long-awaited celebration. The streets were adorned with colorful streamers and garlands of wildflowers, their vibrant hues swaying gently in the breeze. Banners featuring intricate patterns and symbols of love and unity fluttered from every window and doorway. The villagers, dressed in their finest garments, bustled about with a sense of joyous urgency. Outside the church, a group of women were setting up tables covered in linen, their hands expertly arranging a feast of local delicacies. The tables were laden with freshly baked pastries, honey cakes, and an assortment of fruits and cheeses. The aroma of roasting meats and simmering stews wafted through the air, promising a sumptuous banquet. Nearby, a group of children ran about, their laughter ringing out as they played games and helped with the decorations. Their parents, busy with last-minute touches, occasionally glanced at their happy faces with smiles of pride and anticipation. In the center of the village square, a temporary stage was being erected for the evening's entertainment. Local musicians were tuning their instruments, their melodies mingling with the lively chatter of the guests. The anticipation for the evening's festivities was palpable, with villagers eagerly discussing the evening's events and the joyous union of Anna and Viktor. As Anna's wedding gown was carefully laid out, its fabric shimmering in the sunlight, the seamstresses made final adjustments, their skilled hands working diligently. The gown was a masterpiece of lace and satin, adorned with delicate embroidery that spoke of both elegance and tradition. Inside the church, the scent of fresh pine and cedar from the newly set pews mingled with the faint, lingering aroma of incense. The altar was draped with a cascade of white flowers, their sweet fragrance filling the sacred space. Candles were lit, casting a soft, flickering light that danced across the ornate wooden pews. The village elders, dressed in their ceremonial robes, gathered to finalize the details of the ceremony. Their faces were etched with a mix of solemnity and joy, reflecting the importance of the occasion and the high regard in which Anna and Victor were held. As evening approached, the excitement reached its peak. The villagers, having completed their preparations, began to gather for the ceremony. The air was filled with the sounds of laughter and conversation, mingling with the distant strains of music. The village square was alive with the warm glow of lanterns and the twinkling of fairy lights, creating a magical atmosphere that promised an unforgettable celebration. As the sun rose on what should have been her wedding day, Anna awoke with a heart full of hope and anticipation. She carefully donned her wedding gown, its delicate fabric shimmering softly in the early morning light. The dress was a beautiful creation of lace and satin, adorned with intricate embroidery that had taken countless hours to complete. Anna's fingers trembled as she fastened the final buttons, her reflection in the mirror a haunting contrast to the lively preparations taking place outside. The vibrant sounds of the village, laughter, the clinking of dishes, and the joyous bustle seemed to fade into the background, leaving her in a cocoon of silence. She sat at her vanity, applying her makeup with careful precision. The once bright colors of her cosmetics now seemed muted, her efforts feeling almost mechanical. Her eyes, once full of excitement, were clouded with uncertainty and a creeping sadness. Each brushstroke and every delicate adjustment felt like a ritual of futility. Anna's gaze drifted to the window, where the village's activities were visible through the sheer curtains. She could see the villagers moving about, their joyful voices and laughter carried on the wind. The contrast between their happiness and her own growing sense of isolation was stark and painful. As the hours passed, Anna's anticipation slowly gave way to a gnawing sense of dread. The once vibrant sounds from the village became muffled, as if the world outside was slipping further away. The sun climbed higher, casting a golden glow over the village. But inside Anna's heart, the light seemed to dim. She moved through the empty rooms of her home, each step echoing in the silence. The once bustling household was now eerily quiet, its warmth replaced by a chilling emptiness. The decorations she had lovingly chosen seemed to mock her, their vibrant colors a stark contrast to her somber mood. Anna tried to occupy herself with small tasks, but each action only heightened her sense of desolation. She meticulously arranged flowers that would never be seen, set a table that would never be used, and adjusted decorations that would never adorn a wedding feast. As the day wore on, the village sounds continued to recede, replaced by an unsettling quiet. The sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the room. The once bright daylight grew dim, giving way to the encroaching twilight. Anna's heartache grew heavier with the fading light. With the setting sun, Anna's loneliness became almost palpable. She stood alone in the center of her home, her wedding gown a ghostly reminder of the future that would never be. The darkening sky mirrored the shadows in her heart as she gazed out the window, her eyes searching for a glimpse of Victor, though she knew deep down he would never return. As night fell, Anna's sorrow reached its peak. The village, once alive with excitement, was now a distant memory. The lights that had twinkled with anticipation were now extinguished, leaving only the cold, indifferent darkness. Anna, now a solitary figure in her wedding dress, was left to confront the painful reality of her unfulfilled dreams. But as fate would have it, Victor was called away to fight in a distant war. He promised Anna he would return, but as the months turned into years, his letters ceased. Rumors began to swirl. Some whispered that Victor had fathered a child with another woman and was forced into a marriage of convenience due to his family's demands. Anna's heart shattered with the weight of betrayal. She clung to hope for as long as she could, but the promises of a future together grew dimmer with each passing day. On what should have been her wedding day, Anna stood alone beneath the ancient oak tree, dressed in her wedding gown, waiting for a groom who would never come. Her body was found the next morning, still clad in her bridal attire, her face serene but lifeless. The village mourned her passing, but whispers of betrayal and betrayal lingered in the air. Anna was laid to rest in her wedding dress, her story becoming a chilling legend. Anna's spirit did not rest. On the anniversary of her death, her ghostly presence could be felt throughout the village. She became a figure of haunting legend, appearing to those who were about to marry, her anger and sorrow twisted into a curse. Her vengeance was merciless. Couples who ignored the warnings or celebrated love during this time would find themselves haunted by her restless spirit. As night deepened, Anna's sorrow transformed into something darker. Her ghostly figure emerged from the shadows, the once vibrant wedding gown now a tattered shroud of despair. The fabric, once bright and elegant, now seemed to float around her ethereal form, a ghostly veil that rustled softly with her every movement. Anna's appearance was both mesmerizing and chilling. Her face, once radiant with life, was now pale and spectral, her eyes hollow and filled with an unending sadness. The remnants of her bridal makeup were smudged and ghostly, giving her a haunting, otherworldly beauty. Her hair flowed behind her like a dark, tangled river, adding to her spectral presence. Those who ventured too close to the old oak tree or planned their weddings during Anna's anniversary faced unexplainable misfortunes. Nightmares plagued them, and some vanished without a trace, their fates sealed by Anna's unrelenting grief. The villagers learned to tread carefully, whispering warnings to those who dared to celebrate love during Anna's cursed time. Her story was passed down through generations, becoming a cautionary tale for the unwary. Years passed, and Anna's presence became a legend in the village. On cold, misty nights, villagers claimed to see her wandering the streets, her eyes searching for the man who had abandoned her. Her sorrow had turned to anger, and it was said that those who crossed her path on their wedding day would never find happiness. Many years later, the village of Rinovich became a forgotten relic of the past. However, legends have a way of resurfacing. Sarah and Michael, a modern-day couple with a fascination for history, decided to visit the village. They had heard whispers of the ghost bride and were eager to explore the tales for themselves. As they arrived, the village appeared frozen in time, its streets eerily quiet. The locals, wary of outsiders, watched with a mix of pity and apprehension. Sarah and Michael, dismissing the warnings as mere superstition, began their exploration. Michael and Sarah, a young couple deeply in love, were set to marry in the same village square where Anna had been left waiting. But unknown to them, their joyous occasion would awaken the spirit of Anna, who had waited for centuries for the return of her lost love. As the day of the wedding approached, strange things began to happen. The air grew colder, and a thick mist began to roll in from the hills, shrouding the village in an eerie silence. Michael noticed the change, but he dismissed it as pre-wedding jitters. Little did he know that Anna's ghost had mistaken him for Victor, her lost love, returned at last. And when she saw Sarah, a woman about to marry the man she believed to be hers, her sorrow turned to rage.
Beware. Run. Run away.
During their visit, they discovered an old family tree of the village, revealing an unexpected connection. Michael's last name, Malikov, was the same as Victor's, Anna's lost love. They were stunned to realize that Michael was a descendant of Viktor Malakhov. This revelation deepened their interest and sense of intrigue. As evening fell, they made their way to the old oak tree where Anna's story began. The air grew colder, and a thick mist rolled in, enveloping them in its ghostly embrace. Sarah felt a shiver of unease, but Michael, ever the skeptic, pressed on. Under the ancient oak, they saw a ghostly figure emerging from the mist, a woman in white, her form barely visible. Sarah's heart raced as she recognized the figure as Anna, the bride who waited. She drifted through the night, her footsteps silent on the cold ground as she approached Michael and Sarah. The couple, who had innocently come to the village to celebrate their own love, were oblivious to the dark fate that awaited them. Their laughter and joy, so vibrant earlier, had now given way to a palpable tension as the night grew darker. Anna's ghostly presence made itself known with a chilling gust of wind that swept through the village square. The mist thickened, wrapping around the couple like a cold, suffocating embrace. Michael and Sarah's eyes widened in terror as the figure of Anna materialized before them, her sorrowful wail piercing the stillness of the night. Anna's rage was palpable. She moved closer to Sarah, her eyes burning with a fiery hatred. The sight of Sarah's innocent face, so reminiscent of her own lost dreams, was too much for her tormented soul. She let out a mournful wail, a sound filled with centuries of pain and anger, which echoed through the mist-laden night. Sarah, trembling, fell to her knees, her screams mingling with Anna's ghostly cries. Michael, desperate to protect his beloved, tried to pull her away, but his efforts were futile against the spectral force. The air grew colder, the mist swirling more violently around them as Anna's rage manifested in a series of ethereal gusts and eerie whispers. Anna's presence was a whirlwind of sorrow and fury. She moved with an otherworldly grace, her wails growing more insistent and her form flickering between visibility and shadow. The couple's fear was palpable as they stumbled back, their attempts to flee thwarted by the encroaching mist and the relentless apparition. Anna's rage and heartbreak were now fully unleashed, a powerful and tragic force that seemed to consume the very essence of the night. The village square, once a place of celebration, had become a haunting ground for the spectral bride's anguish. Anna's eyes, once filled with sorrow, now burned with a vengeful fire. The spirit seemed to mistake Michael for Viktor, her lost love. Her gaze turned to Sarah, whom she perceived as the woman who had replaced her beloved. Anna's anger erupted, and her presence became menacing and overpowering. Michael, realizing the gravity of their situation, tried to reason with the spirit, but Anna's rage was uncontrollable. Sarah was caught in the grip of Anna's wrath, her terror palpable. Michael tried to pull her away, but the mist and Anna's fury were relentless. As the mist swirls around them, creating an oppressive atmosphere, Michael and Sarah find themselves face to face with Anna's ghost. The air is thick with tension, and the faint sounds of wind and distant, eerie whispers fill the silence. Michael stood frozen in place as Anna's ghostly figure loomed before him. Her once beautiful face was now a twisted mask of sorrow and rage, her green eyes burning with a mixture of anger and despair. As Michael desperately tried to reason with her, his voice trembled with fear and urgency.
Anna, please, you must understand. I am not Viktor. I am not the man who abandoned you. I'm just a man who came here to start a new life with Sarah. Please let us go.
Michael pleaded, his words trembling in the cold air. But Anna was beyond reason. Her heart had been broken, and in her ghostly state, she could no longer distinguish between past and present. All she saw was the man she believed had abandoned her, and the woman who had taken her place. But Anna's rage only grew. Her voice, once soft and full of love, now echoed with the bitterness of a broken heart.
You think you can just walk away? I was with child when you left me. I waited for you. I waited, but you never returned. I died alone, heartbroken, and our unborn child died with me.
As Michael continued to plead, Anna's rage intensified. The mist swirled more violently around them, and the air grew so cold that their breath formed visible clouds. But then, as if some part of Anna's humanity still lingered, the mist began to clear slightly, and her wails turned to soft sobs. Michael's heart sank as the full weight of Anna's tragedy hit him. The sorrow of a love lost, a future destroyed, and a life ended too soon was almost too much to bear. But still, he tried to reach out to her, his voice choked with sympathy and desperation.
Anna, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for what happened to you. But I am not Victor. I can't undo the past, but you don't have to suffer anymore. Please, let us help you find peace.
For a moment, it seemed as though Anna might relent. Her ghostly form wavered, the edges of her figure blurring into the mist. But the pain of her past was too great, and her anger flared once more. Anna cried out, her voice filled with the anguish of 1,000 years.
No, you don't get to walk away. If I couldn't have my love, neither will you.
Desperate, they fled the village as Anna's anguished cries followed them. They escaped with their lives, but the encounter left them forever marked. Michael, now aware of his ancestors' betrayal, felt a haunting connection to Anna's tragic fate. Back in their lives, Sarah and Michael found themselves haunted by their experience. Nightmares plagued their sleep, and Anna's ghostly form appeared in the corners of their vision. The curse of the bride who waited had claimed new victims, ensuring her tale would continue to echo through the ages. Anna's tale is one of timeless sorrow, a reminder of love betrayed and vengeance born of heartbreak. Her spirit lingers in the mist, waiting for those who dare to celebrate love where it once was denied to her. So remember, dear listener, as you drift into dreams, to cherish every moment with your loved ones. For in the depths of the night, there are those who wait, forever bound to their unfulfilled desires, their whispers carried on the wind, seeking solace in the heartache of others. If you found solace in this tale shrouded in the veil of shadow, and if you wish to hear more stories whispered through the dark corners of the night, do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Like and share this story, and join us as we continue to explore the mysteries and legends that linger in the shadows. Hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest whispers, and leave a comment below to share your thoughts or to suggest tales you'd like us to unravel. Until next time, may the shadows guard your dreams and the whispers guide your path.